Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020, and this is episode 542 of The Daily Dope. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, we just hang out, talk about tabletop gaming news for the most part. So we'll talk about board games, role-playing games, card games, miniatures games. If it's going on your tabletop, we're probably going to be talking about it. Every once in a while, we do talk about PC gaming and a little pop culture from time to time, but it's pretty much all tabletop gaming around here. So keep in mind, very casual. It is not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. So I do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell, because not only will it inform you when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Dungeons & Dragons, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. Yes, this actually came out in stores today. My review has been up for about a week. My first look video has been up for a couple of weeks now. So, and if you check out my video, I will tell you how you can win this copy of the alternate art cover, which is right in my hands, this very book. So there we go. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, by all means, please head on over to thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Of course, this is a live stream, so that means chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that keeps some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So I did see a Grade A was first out the gate saying howdy in chat. So we've got a Grade A. We've got Philadelphia Piper, who is someone who popped in, I believe, last night for the first time. So welcome back, Piper. Thanks for coming back. We got the stalwart Kabuki Kid. Double K's in the house. The Madman is in chat as well. Who else do we got here? Looks like my buddy Scott Weagle is also hanging out. So is Kevin R. Smith. So right off the bat, we got a good chat cooking. Sweet, pretty nice. So before I jump into the news, and I've got a lot of news tonight, do want to mention that just as I expected, the number of viewers for my review has jumped back up again. So just like last week when it first popped out, I figured release day, a lot of people are going to be jumping out there to check out the review. So some people just aren't happy with anything, you know. Plus, I'll tell you, what drives me nuts is when people say I said something that I never said in the video. Or they say, oh, you didn't talk about this. And it's like, what are you talking about? I specifically discussed that in the video. Yada. Anyway, so, but yeah, about 3,000 views, I think just today. Thereabouts, 2,500, 3,000 views. Not too shabby. Altogether with the Dyson Miscellany set, my first look video and my review, all three of those videos together are about 26,000 views. So not bad. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So Piper says that they already have a digital copy of Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden from D&D Beyond. Nice. Very nice. I gave it a 7 out of 10. People are acting like, oh, I was like, oh, I hated it. I didn't hate it. There's just things about it that, I thought it was decent. Just didn't think it was the greatest 5th edition adventure that's come out so far. Stuff I do like about it. Other stuff scratching my head about. So anyway, Flaming Huron has popped into chat as well. So it says, damn, mustn't be enough of a regular. Why? Where did I miss you, Flaming Huron? That's weird. So Kabuki Kid is asking, do I look whiter than usual? No, the white balance is all right. White balance is fine. I just like to have it a brighter down here. So I do usually have my ISO set a little bit higher and my aperture a bit wider. So plus I like to have the bokeh effect behind me. So that is, I haven't changed anything though. So I don't know. It's pretty weird. I have to admit that after I do like a review or unboxing or anything like that, I had to adjust the camera again because I have more lights that are on when I'm doing an actual like review, or anytime I'm having to shoot top down with the Panasonic G85, then I have more lighting and I tend to look a little more washed out. Although I have to admit, I do have a light on that I normally don't have on. So that might be making it, and it's like right up there. I usually don't have it on because it is not a natural light. So most people know that you've got two different kinds of bulbs out there. So you've got daylight and then you have like fluorescent. So I tend to go with the daylight setting. So I don't tend to have as much yellow in the color. So I don't know. Maybe that's it. All right. Anyway, moving right along. So Kevin says it seems brighter than usual on the TV, but not on their Chromebook. I don't know. I don't know. I look a little washed out. I'll tell you what. Give me a second. I'll jump up. It's no big deal. First of all, I'll turn off that one light, see if it changes anything. All right. So, yeah, see, it doesn't look as light. So I don't know. If everybody thinks that looks all right, we can keep moving on. So, because looking at it on my screen, it looks fine. I mean, I don't know. It just looks normal. Flaming Heron says, yeah, it looks brighter, but it never bothered me at all. So Russell Higgins has arrived in chat as well. So I should point out, Russell had discussed maybe doing some PDF reviews for the Gaming Gang in the future. So if you're still up for that, Russell, touch base, because I know you were on vacation. So we will see what we can get going, see what we can get cooking. All right. One thing that I will talk about, but we'll do that after the news. It's the latest video that I popped up earlier today. In case you missed it, I'll talk about that in a bit. But first of all, let's jump on into the news, because earlier today, Starling Games launched a new Kickstarter. Here's the dope on Flourish. Welcome to a delightful realm of beautiful gardens, vibrant flowers, and eye-catching scenery. Take up your spade and hone your finest gardening skills by crafting and nourishing the most majestic display of natural beauty, much to the envy of your neighbors over the wall. Damn those neighbors over the wall. Lounge beneath your freshly watered trellis and sip a cup of tea with fresh mint. Enjoy an afternoon in the sparkling world of Flourish, a place you will want to return to time and time again. Flourish can be played in a variety of ways: solo, cooperatively, or competitively. In summary, gameplay for Flourish is as follows. Each turn, you will begin with 6 cards in your hand. Choose 1 card to play into your own garden and 2 cards to pass over the walls of your garden to your neighbors, who simultaneously play their own cards into their gardens. Once all players have played and passed, all players reveal their played card, add the passed cards from their neighbors to their hands, and draw a new card from the deck. Players will place 12 cards total in their garden, scoring its beauty both by the points on their own cards and their neighbors. Clever passing of cards and shrewd placement each season will ensure your garden is the most beautiful in the realm. There is a short, very short Kickstarter video. It's only about 40 seconds. So let's pop on over to that video and give it a peek. Flourish is for 1 to 7 players, ages 8 and up, and plays in around 20 minutes. The project did fund in its first hour. You can reserve a copy of the signature edition of the game for a $39 pledge through October 1st. Expected delivery is March of next year. Do want to mention this signature edition is going to include 2 expansions. One I'm showing right now. It is with the little 3D, they call them follies, I think. And the other is another expansion with other cards in it, which are called Friends. And it looks like there's different animals and insects in that. Interesting. Flourish is from the same creators of Everdell, which I'm a huge fan of Everdell. Love it. Love it to death. So this could be very interesting. Plus, you can play up to 7 players. So kind of cool. But there is one thing that I do want to mention, and I have gotten along great with Starling Games, the folks over at Starling Games, especially when I first encountered them, when I first learned about Everdell when I was at Gen Con. This is, that would be 3 Gen Cons ago. And I got to point out, I have heard through the grapevine that my friend Brenna Noonan, who was with Starling Games, she was actually in charge of their marketing. That's why I'd interview her. She was with Tabletop Tycoon, which used to be Game Salute. So my understanding is Brenna did a lot of development work on Flourish and is not being included on the credits. So I want to point that out. Because, like I said, I've gotten along great with the folks at Starling Games. They've sent me review copies of stuff. Got to be the first to point out, Game Salute had a really shitty reputation. Really, really bad. And then they became Tabletop Tycoon, and Brenna worked with them. And, you know, they were starting to reestablish a good reputation. I'm just saying, you know what? If somebody does development work on a game for you, they ought to be on the credits. And if you don't do that, then I don't know. It's a little shady in my opinion. But anyway, that is me. So what I did is I actually I changed the aperture just a hair while that video was playing. So it should not be as white. It should not be as bright anymore. In fact, on my screen, it looks kind of dark. And of course, my friend Scott's like, it doesn't matter what the lighting is. Only a mask will help. Or I could just go through the show like this. And yes, this is a Padres hat. And yes, I am a diehard lifelong Cubs fan. And I used to hate the Padres. But once the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, I gave up my hatred for the Padres and the Giants and the Diamondbacks and any of the teams out there that had knocked the Cubs out of the playoffs before they got to the World Series. And actually, the Padres are my West Coast National League team that I root for. It's more because I love San Diego. I love when we go out there and we cover Comic-Con every year, except this one. So, yes, it is a Padres hat. Good catch, a grade A. When were the Padres blue? That is one of their accent colors. Although I got to admit, the Padres have one of the ugliest alternate uniforms, and it's when they do the and the reason why they do it is cool because it is a salute to the military. Because of course, San Diego is a huge naval port, but when they do that weirdo camouflage, it's awful looking, awful looking. All right, let's keep moving along with the news because arriving in November is the second expansion to Tiny Towns from AEG. I love Tiny Towns. That is another really good game. I've got a wee bit of dope. And when I say wee bit, I mean it is very little dope on Tiny Towns Villagers. In Tiny Towns Villagers, word has spread far and wide of a thriving little civilization in the forest. Creatures with incredible talents, from engineers to merchants, have come to visit these towns and decide where they will make their new homes. They offer the most astute town mayors their skills, which can transform buildings, control the influx of resources, and perform impressive architectural feats. The world of Tiny Towns is getting a bit bigger. Tiny Towns Villagers is for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 45 minutes. Of course, that's kind of the core gameplay is about 45 minutes. This expansion will require the core game. It is going to carry an MSRP of $29.99 when it arrives on November 13th. I still got to do my review for Tiny Towns Fortune. I think it's called Fortune. It's where they added money to the game. So a grade A is asking, is Tiny Town in distribution right now? Yes, Tiny Towns is available. You can get it through any online retailer, AEG themselves. So yes, Tiny Towns is out. So is the first expansion, Fortune. I swear it's called Fortune. Like I said, it adds like money to the town. So then, of course, everybody, all these little animals all hate each other now. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know how the expansion plays because I have not played it yet. I'm telling you, this pandemic has really cramped a lot of our reviews. All right, let's move on to some role-playing game news. I got a bunch of role-playing game news tonight. First of all, Paizo has revealed a new Pathfinder Lost Omen sourcebook for next June. Here's the dope on the Unagi Expanse, or I should say, I think it's Wangi Expanse. And yes, get ready. I am going to mispronounce a ton of different stuff. Lost Omen's Wangi Expanse is coming June 2021. This 312-page book will be our deepest dive in all of Pathfinder's history into the Wangi Expanse. Wangi Expanse will be exploring various subjects that make the region what it is today. You'll get to learn about the events that shaped the history of the Expanse, like the rise and fall of the Serpent Folk Empire and Old Mage Jatembe's rediscovery of magic. Learn about the dozens of cultures and people of the Expanse, from Elige elves to Zenge humans. You'll also get to understand the role of faith in the Wangi Expanse and learn more about the different gods of the region, which include established deities like Grandmother Spider, as well as newer deities like Devanye, the catfolk deity of imagination and protection. Beyond the peoples and beliefs of the Wangi Expanse, we'll get to show you the region itself, traveling along the waterways of the area and trekking into its misty rainforests. The book will also take you to the various important cities of the region, like Netambu, home of the fabled Magambia Academy, and Zali, the temple city home of evil godchild Walkina. Like I said, I don't know how to pronounce any of this stuff. I'm just rolling with it, gang. Finally, we'll get to experience the dangers of the Wangi Expanse. Why did I say express? Yay. Yay. Let's try that again. Finally, we'll get to experience the dangers of the Wangi Expanse by showcasing some of the region's nastier monsters, including old classics like Charukats and new threats like the corpse-eating Karina. Karina? Bad girl. Of course, the book will also include new rules options to play characters from the Wangi Expanse. These include cultural items like Songo fighting sticks or the magic mask that Alange elves use to chronicle their genealogy. It also includes the player rules for those new deities to worship. Most exciting of all are the new ancestries featured in the book. This book features 6 new ancestries: Anandi, Kanrasu, Noel, hey, that was easy enough, Golomas, Gripply, and Shisks. This 6 represent a good mix of classic ancestries and new ancestries that we know fans have been wanting to see. Look forward to learning all about Lost Omens Wangi Expanse next summer. Of course, outside of a June release and 312-page count, and what I have just shared now, that is all I know about with this source book. Looks interesting. Looks pretty cool. They're going all out. I will tell you one thing, though. Already have seen some people complaining. I don't think we really need to discuss what they're complaining about. I think it's probably pretty obvious what some folks would be upset about. And it's like, give me a break. It's like, geez, man. But, you know, what can you do? What can you do? I think this looks fascinating. I love reading background stuff for role-playing games. Even, I wonder if Scott, I think Scott was the same way. And if you are kind of new to hanging out in chat, Scott has been hanging out with us for a few episodes now. Very cool. Scott Weagle and I go way back. We were freshmen at the same high school. We belonged to the Gamers Guild, which was our club. So Jorge Rodriguez says the stream keeps cutting off. I don't know. Everything looks good on this side. We're not showing any drop frames. Everything's looking pretty good. So I do not know. Anyway, good to see you, Jorge, by the way. Thanks for joining us. So, like I said, this looks pretty cool. 312-page source book. I'm taking a guess. We're probably looking at about $49.95. That's usually around the price that we would be seeing for it. So, Kobold Press has a new Kickstarter. It launched, I want to say, I think it was yesterday. So it is for a new multi-level 5e dungeon for Dungeons and Dragons. I can say that. They can't say that. I can say D&D. I can say Dungeons and Dragons. Here's the dope on Scarlet Citadel. Once a functional fortress in the cradle of wizards, little now remains of the Scarlet Citadel on the surface. However, the place is known among adventurers and lore keepers, and well-trod stairs lead down into the depths. This is sounding a little bit like the Sunless Citadel, the old D&D adventure. Deep below, dwarven mercenaries once bred their owl bears for war. What else are owl bears good for? The sorcerers of the White Forest practiced their forbidden arts, and strange cults from other realms settled into a place where nodes of power draw together. Their treasures and their remains are scattered across the halls and caverns. These malevolent creatures that remain still spin their shadowy webs, enchant foul magics, and summon forth the dark gods. The This all-new dungeon adventure for levels 1 to 10 presents adventuring in the most classic style of all, facing the foul monsters below the earth and seizing lost treasure. Sharpen your axe and ready your wand and step forward for adventure in the Scarlet Citadel. The 5th edition of the world's first tabletop role-playing game is all about dungeons and also dragons, though not in this project. This is the first dungeon-centric adventure design that Kobold Press has tackled for 5th edition. I am kind of surprised by that. And the design effort is led by TSR and Wizards of the Coast veteran Steve Winter, working with notes and characters from Kobold Press publisher Wolfgang Bauer's home game. The result is a classic old-school dungeon crawl that goes from a surface setting to a deep set of caverns far from the light of the sun, where alien things skitter and guttural chants murmur down chill and damp passageways lit only by magical spheres and fluorescent fungi. The Scarlet Citadel includes at least 6 levels of dungeon exploration with lavish maps, plus a town base, appendices of, or appendices, as some people pronounce it, of additional monsters and characters, and a full suite of PDF and virtual tabletop options from Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds. Kobold Press has a short video. It's about a minute. Let's take a peek. Learn a little bit more about this Kickstarter. Although the weird thing is, this video really doesn't say it's like a Kickstarter. It just is like coming soon. So kind of strange.
Mysterious underground societies, wondrous above-ground allies, foes around every corner. How will you become a hero? In this sprawling dungeon adventure for 5e, discover untold riches and unearth ancient mysteries as you brave the dangers of the Scarlet Citadel. Escape sinister caves and discover ancient artifacts. Vault dangerous pits and foil hidden traps. Loot every level and discover every secret of this vast dungeon complex. Follow the link to find out more. Scarlet Citadel, the halls where heroes are made.
The project for Scarlet Citadel is fully funded. It was past 200% last I looked earlier this afternoon. You can reserve a copy of the hardcover for a $40 pledge, or get the PDF for a $20 pledge. And if I remember correctly, I believe that you can get the virtual tabletop edition, depending on what you want. If you want to go Roll20 or if you want to go Fantasy Grounds, I think those are also $40 or $39. So interesting. So the Madman says that he is still trying to decide whether or not to back this. It looks pretty good. I'll be honest. I don't have any sort of relationship with Kobold Press. I have, to my memory, if my memory is correct, to my knowledge, I guess I'll say, I don't think I've ever reviewed anything from Kobold Press. Oh, wait a second. Yes, I did. Empire of the Ghouls. Thanks, Russell. Russell goes, hey, wasn't Empire of the Ghouls also 5e for Kobold Press? Wait a second. Did I do Empire of the Ghouls? No, I didn't review Empire of the Ghouls. No, okay. So I haven't done anything for Kobold Press. Man, sometimes it's just like, wow. Okay, so I was thinking, you know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of, isn't it called Return of the Drow? Which was from Adventure a Week Games. So that was pretty cool. So Great A is pointing out that, yes, that Kobold Press also does Deep Magic, which they just had a Kickstarter to put all those Deep Magic releases in a hardcover as well as one release. So Great A says they have Tomb of Beasts and the Creature Codex. Sweet. Very cool. I think at one point, Kobold Press was talking about maybe having me do some reviews. And I don't know. Something must have just fallen apart there. But this looks pretty nice. This could be pretty cool. And to be honest, $20 PDF, that's not too shabby. Especially if it's going to be a big, dungeon. They say a minimum 6 levels, so that's pretty cool. So moving along, let's talk about the latest bundle of holding because it features the classic role-playing game Fudge, which was the procurer of fate. I've got the dope. Adventura. This new Fudge bundle presents the rules light tabletop role-playing game engine Fudge and many of the role-playing games that use this fast-paced, easy-to-play system. Fudge, the precursor of Fate, is a customizable toolkit that supports every setting you can imagine. Its word-based trait scale and simple action resolution make it ideal for novices and flexible enough to satisfy experienced role players. Just fudge it. This bargain-priced offer marks the debut in PDF of several Fudge-based titles that are not yet available anywhere else. For just $12.95, you'll get all 5 complete games in the starter collection with a retail value of $69 as PDFs, which include the comprehensive 318-page Fudge 10th Anniversary Edition rulebook debuting in PDF. There's Cyberpunk meets psionics in this alternate world of ghosts, cyborgs, technomancers, and souljackers. There's Hack and Slash, a low-prep dungeon crawl RPG that can be up and playing in minutes. It also includes the Game Master screen. We've got The Orb, a colorful fantasy RPG with expanded rules for magic and miracles. And Survival of the Able, a haunting horror adventure of disability and hope in a worldwide pandemic of zombies. If you pay more than the threshold price of $26.01, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 7 more titles worth an additional $97. You get the Durini adventure game based on the long-running Durini novel series by Catherine Kurtz. This 2005 role-playing game of feudal politics and ritual magic debuts in PDF with this offer. It includes the full-color 11 Kingdoms world map. There's Terra Incognita. Globe-trotting Victorian adventurer researchers discover secrets of the trackless unknown and then hide them. Now playing. Create, cast, and produce your own episodes of any kind of TV series, from science fiction epics to sitcoms to reality shows. Includes the full-length adventure Ghosts of the Lady Grace. The Unexplained. The truth is out there in this modern-day role-playing game of investigating paranormal phenomena just like you see on TV. This also includes the Storyteller's Screen, GM screen. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated. This offers pandemic-related charity direct relief. You can score these savings through the 28th of the month. Bum, 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 bum. So here's a fun Fudge story. So best friend Elliot Miller and I were at Gen Con. Now, this is back when it was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we ended up actually playing a playtest game of Fudge with the designer. And it was, actually, I don't want to say it was a playtest. They were selling the core book there. So, but it was kind of funny. And we actually played an adventure, which was, well, there's a role-playing game called Bunnies and Burrows, but essentially it's, kind of like Watership Down, the famed Richard Adams book. And we had a good time. We had a lot of fun. I think it was like 3 hours long. And I got to admit, if I remember right, I think I even bought the Fudge core book because I was like, hey, you know what? This is interesting. And of course, we know the madman loves Savage Worlds, which has nothing to do with Fudge. Yeah, I wonder what the madman thinks of Fate. Because funny enough, some people think Fate and Savage Worlds are very similar. I don't. Outside the fact that they're both generic systems, they're systemless. Which in reality, I don't think Savage Worlds really is systemless because it evolved from Deadlands. So I don't know. So let's see. So there's some discussion here about the Traveler bundle. So that was they just, actually, didn't they just have a Mongoose Traveler? They had two. They had two Mongoose Traveler bundles not too long ago. So, and of course, every once in a while we see Classic Traveler, we see Traveler 2300. I think we just saw a Mega Traveler bundle not that long ago either. So the Madman says that they have not checked out Fate. All right, so on to my final news piece for tonight. Today and today only, you can score the Scarred Lands Player's Guide from Onyx Path Publishing. This is the 5e edition. It is absolutely free in PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG. Here's the dope. A land where legends walk. Drawing enthusiastically on Greek mythology, the revised and reimagined Scarred Lands nonetheless retains its place as a modern fantasy RPG setting. This is a world shaped by gods and monsters, and only the greatest of heroes can expect to be counted among them. The most populous continent of Skarn, Gelspad, plays host to vast, unexplored regions, hides unsolved riddles from ancient cultures, and taunts adventurers with the promise of undiscovered riches hidden among the ruins of older civilization. Wouldn't it taunt adventurers, not taunt adventurers? Let's say it taunts the adventurers. Yet the myths of these Scarred Lands are relatively recent events. The effects of the Titans' War still ripple through the world, and the heroines and villains of many of these stories are part of living memory, if not still living. The award-winning fantasy setting returns. Scarred Lands has been a favorite fantasy setting since the release of the Creature Collection for the D20 system in 2000. In subsequent years, over 40 titles were published for Scarred Lands, making it one of the most fully supported fantasy RPG settings ever, and the premier product line of sword and sorcery studios. Now, Onyx Path Publishing and Nocturnal Media have partnered to bring this cherished fantasy setting back to your gaming table. Begin your adventure with the free adventure Gauntlet of Sparagos. That's another bonus freebie. As I mentioned before, this 312 page PDF is available absolutely free at Drive-Thru RPG today only. So there's that. This looks like it could be kind of interesting. So the way I look at it, it's free. If you run any kind of fantasy role-playing games, why not pick it up? I mean, I am famous for picking up role-playing game stuff just so I can kind of snag something from here. Steal little bits and pieces, take what I like, throw away the rest. So by all means, check it out. It is absolutely free. I think it's normally $20. So it's not some like $5 freebie out there. So, all right. So Kevin Smith says that they actually have the core rules for Fate as well as Fate of Cthulhu. And they played a one-shot of Fate of Cthulhu at their last in-person convention, and it was a blast. I would like to see Fate of Cthulhu because, of course, it's a Lovecraftian game. And you say Cthulhu Mythos, Lovecraftian adventure, I come running up. So it did look pretty impressive. Although I got to admit, was it the artwork that's on the cover with the guy on the motorcycle? Looked kind of odd. It wasn't the greatest piece of artwork. So I don't know if they left that as the cover art or not. So the Madman says that they might be able to use the freebie in their Arcadia 5e setting. So Kevin Smith says that it's like Lovecraft meets the Terminator for Fate of Cthulhu. Cool. Or maybe that was just the artwork on the cover. All right. So that is the news for tonight. Do want to mention that I uploaded my review of Carnival of Monsters earlier today. So this is from Amigo Games. It's designed by Richard Garfield. Yes, of Magic the Gathering and Keyforge and Robo Rally fame. just to name a few of his titles. And we've enjoyed it. I thought it's pretty cool. It is a card drafting game. I'm the first to point out I am not a huge card drafting game fan. I played a bit of Seven Wonders when it came out in Arizona, and I thought, yeah, I thought it was okay, but everybody was going crazy about that game, and I was like, I don't know, So Jorge's got to rock out. Good to see you, Jorge. We'll see you next time. So Philadelphia Piper says that they caught the review, not their style game, but great review. Well, thank you. I'm one of these people, and I get it. I get comments all the time. I just delete them. I don't care. Hey, your review should only be about 8 minutes long. Your review should only be 10 minutes long. It's like, you know what? Everybody else does those kind of reviews. Feel free. Go enjoy them. I'm not a person who like rocks out a review in 3 minutes. I just can't. To me, I look at it this way, and I've mentioned this before on the show. If a company is kind enough to send me a review copy of a game that they could have profited by selling, I think I owe it to them to give, full coverage to the game. Even if I'm not a big fan of it, at least you're getting to see the game. I'm telling you how to play the game, which, I don't do like detailed, like, oh, this is how to play, I'm not. Once again, there's plenty of videos out there from people who that's all they do is shoot videos on how to play games. But I share a bit of how to play and share my thoughts, and yeah. So Philadelphia Piper says that doesn't sound like a review, but a short overview. Yeah, but there are a lot of people out there who pride themselves that their review videos are like 5 minutes or less. It's like, I don't get it. I have no idea. So Kevin Smith goes, I got the Scarred Lands Player's Guide. If there's anything of value in it, it's worth the price. That's right. It's worth the price of 0. I don't know. I've really never checked out much Onyx Path Publishing stuff. I know they did a lot of Vampire the Masquerade stuff in the past. They don't really do much. Although I think they did the Chicago, isn't it Chicago by Night? Well, whatever. It's the latest of the like the city books. But then I thought, for some strange reason, I heard through the grapevine that they weren't doing World of Darkness stuff anymore. But I might be wrong. I don't know. But I do know they do. Actually, that can't be right, because they do some World of Darkness releases. Isn't Changeling and some of those games, isn't Werewolf the Apocalypse or whatever? It's it's Werewolf. I don't know. It was the Apocalypse. Could be something else. Now, I thought that's Onyx Path too. So I guess they still do World of Darkness stuff. Maybe it's just they're not going to be doing any Vampire the Masquerade stuff now that Paradox has got a stranglehold on it after after the other fiasco. Won't really get into too much about that. So it was like, whoa, man. Paradox was Paradox Entertainment, or actually it's Paradox Interactive now. They were not happy. They were not happy at all. All right. So let's see. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Al Pacino, Cthulhu voice. So Kevin says, I think there's some weird licensing stuff going on between Onyx Path and that company that does the new Vampire. So, okay, so there's some things behind the scenes that I am not at liberty to share about that. But when Vampire was first coming out, it was there were some people involved. There were some things that got past. I don't want to say the censors, but there were some really oddball. Which I guess, think about it. It's Vampire the Masquerade. There are some strange people who do play that role-playing game specifically. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, from my past experience, I have seen some fairly unique people playing some Vampire the Masquerade live, especially. I've seen that. But Paradox owns it. So they purchased Vampire the Masquerade and some other things that were from White Wolf Publishing, because White Wolf used to be out of Chicago. That was one of the reasons why I kind of had a soft spot for the old Vampire the Masquerade, because it was, coming out of Chicago. But because, gosh, now I can't remember the gentleman's name. He passed away. The main head of White Wolf passed away, and he was like a real big. He was really kind of the driving force behind Vampire the Masquerade. So Paradox came in, purchased it. They kept a lot of people who were part of the White Wolf and Onyx Path kind of cabal, if we use that word. In fact, there is a video that I watched about 10 minutes of that was sent to me about Vampire the Masquerade. And yes, thank you. A Great A's got it. Yes, it's Stuart Wyatt. I think that's how the last name was pronounced. And so anyway, so Paradox purchased, and Paradox is their PC games. Really cool PC games. I'm a big fan of Paradox, but still PC games. And they brought these people in, and Modifius Entertainment was going to publish the books, which they did. They did publish them. And there was just some there was some neo-Nazi shit that got in there. I mean, there was just weird stuff that got into some of these releases. In fact, the first two supplements that they had released, there was such an outcry from some people in the gaming community that they actually recalled them all and had to release new editions. So, yeah, right there's kind of like the Silver Princess for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So, all right. Anyway, that is it for tonight's show. So, as I like to point out, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live right here on YouTube Monday through Thursday nights, also tell you when I upload other videos, such as my review of Carnival of Monsters. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So those of you who hung out watching live in chat, thank you very much. Always appreciate it. Love when people keep me company. And then sometimes we go off on little tangents and that, but that's just how it is when you got, chat going. But of course, I know there are people out there who don't have an opportunity to watch live. Maybe you're even watching on Memorex. I certainly appreciate you taking time out to watch not only the Daily Dope, but any of the videos on the Gaming Gang channel. It really does mean a lot to me, and I really do appreciate it. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. I will be back tomorrow, of course. So until then, as I tend to close out my videos during this pandemic, let me once again remind you, please be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, let me point out that the things I'm going to be pointing at, if you are just watching the Daily Dope stream, you may not see what I'm pointing at. Usually it will take about 12 hours once the stream is finished for YouTube to allow me to add my end screen. But if you're watching one of my other videos, such as my reviews or interviews, first looks, page throughs, what have you, well, then, by all means, click right here and you can subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel. If you click right up here, you'll find the latest episode of my live stream, The Daily Dope. And if you click over here, that's going to show you something that YouTube thinks you might like. Regardless, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and thank you very much for watching.